Every Tuesday night, many of Thunder Bay's NHL players get together for a game of pickup hockey at the tournament center. But this may be the only time they'll play each other all year. The deadline for a new collective bargaining agreement is now just 3 weeks away, and the players and the owners are still deadlocked on the salary cap issue. Philadelphia Flyer Patrick Sharp, Carolina Hurricane Eric Staal, and Vancouver Canuck Alex Auld have all resigned themselves to the fact there will be a work stoppage of some kind.
You know, what you read in the media and you hear from player reps and read on the websites, it obviously doesn't look very good. But, you know, like I said, I'm optimistic about things. As a player, I'm preparing as if I am going to be playing next year in the National Hockey League, and I think everyone is doing the same.
Well, it's not looking that good right now, but, you know, I really hope they, sit down and sort it out because, I really would like to play next year. But, that's kind of the business side of the game, and that's, that's what goes down sometimes, so we'll see what happens coming September.
Oh, I think there may be some stoppage, but I don't think it's going to be, 2 years or whatever, like people are saying. I think there'll be hockey this season. I'm pretty confident in that, and that's just from a gut feeling, really. I think that, everyone realizes there's a lot at stake, and I think that, you can't lose your biggest resource, which is the fans, and I think that's a big thing, and both sides seem stubborn right now, but that's the way negotiations work. I mean, nothing really gives until the last minute, and I think both sides have capable negotiators, and you just have to put your faith in them and know that they're going to do what's best for the game.
If the lockout lasts all year, Auld would likely return to the Manitoba Moose of the American Hockey League, but that option may not be open to Sharp and Staal, according to the rules. Those two players did not play the mandatory 50 games in the AHL last year, and therefore can't be sent down in case of a lockout. Staal could actually end up going back to playing junior hockey in Peterborough, although that is unlikely. Tomorrow, we'll talk with 3 veteran NHLers from Thunder Bay for their take on the situation and their backup plans in case there's no NHL hockey this year. From Thunder Bay's news source, I'm Jonathan Wilson. Thunder Bay's Greg Johnson is an assistant player rep for the Nashville Predators on the NHL Players Association. But he says even he's been told little about how the CBA negotiations are progressing, and all he can do is hope there's a hockey season this year.
I'm always trying to remain optimistic and hopeful. My guess would be is there's going to be some kind of work stoppage. I'm just hoping it's a short one. Nobody wins in these cases, and I'm hoping that both sides can make a deal that both sides can live with and the sport can move forward, because any kind of prolonged stoppage is really going to hurt the sport, especially in the United States.
Johnson's younger brother Ryan with the St. Louis Blues, along with fellow NHLer Taylor Pyatt of the Buffalo Sabres, think the lockout will last for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. From everything that we're hearing from the outside, it doesn't look good right now. But there's a lot of posturing that goes on between sides in a situation like this. And
I think so. It looks like both sides are kind of digging their heels in for a long fight, and hopefully, the earliest I've kind of heard is around Christmas, but hopefully they can get something done before that.
Former Canuck Trevor Letowski may be the most optimistic one of the bunch. Tell me your gut feeling. Are we going to have a season this year?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I really hope so, and I guess my gut says yeah, and I think it's going to be a last-minute thing if it goes, and I'm just really hopeful that they can sort something out.
In the meantime, the local NHLers are staying in game shape, playing pickup hockey every Tuesday and Thursday night at the tournament center. Letowski says he'd consider joining the fledgling World Hockey Association, but he, like many players, are skeptical the league will even get off the ground. As for Europe, there's not much interest in average NHL players.
It's tough to go over to Europe. You see some of the higher profile guys going, but for me, for guys like myself, we just kind of have to sit tight and wait. And
I looked into playing over in Europe, but I think they're only really looking for a superstar player or someone who's going to stay there for the full year. So I'm just kind of taking the look and see approach right now.
Ryan Johnson says he doubts many NHLers will take the risk of jumping to other leagues.
besides a handful of guys, I don't think there's many players that are willing to go over and make these kind of commitments, knowing that if a lockout, if an agreement gets done between the two sides, that they can't go back and resume playing in the NHL. And it's, I think everybody knows that getting in the NHL is hard enough as is, and to take yourself out of there is not something that anybody wants to do.
From Thunder Bay's news source, I'm Jonathan Wilson.
And then he just chips it up over top afterward.